Binance Smart Chain was absolutely rocketing in early 2021. But since then, they've cooled off quite a bit. So I'm wondering, was it mostly fluff or was there actual substance underneath the hype? Well, depending on the answer, it could mean boom or bust for BNB holders. I've always been a little hesitant when it came to Binance Smart Chain and its ecosystem. That's why I largely sat on the sidelines as BNB rocketed alongside BSC's growth. But now that it's been almost a year since its meteoric rise, I think it's a great time to reflect and ask ourselves, was BSC just a small blip on the radar, or will it be a force to be reckoned with for years to come? I know many of y'all hold BNB, so I think this question is incredibly important for us to answer. But even if you don't hold BNB, I'd argue that our takeaways from here also apply to other hot blockchains that you may be invested in. So to answer this question, I dove deep into the world of Binance Smart Chain, and I want to share with you everything that I found. We'll start by reminiscing about their heyday, and then we'll analyze how much they've changed since then. Finally, we'll end with my final verdict on whether or not it's over for Binance Smart Chain, and what that means for the future of BNB. So back in early 2021, crypto was starting to heat up again, and Ethereum was still the king of smart contracts platforms. But Ethereum was super congested all the time, and you had to pay high fees and wait a long time for your transactions to go through. That's why CZ and Binance saw the need for something more usable and created Binance Smart Chain. Now, the interesting thing is that BSC was essentially a copy-paste of the Ethereum codebase. This means that builders could port over dApps from Ethereum in just a few minutes. But they also had to take some shortcuts to guarantee fast speeds and low fees. Like, they restricted the number of validators to just 21 of them, and they all had to get pre-approved by Binance. It was objectively centralized, and people shared this meme around Twitter, joking that those validators are all probably just CZ himself. But alas, users didn't care, because Ethereum was unusable, and BSC offered a much better user experience. That's why adoption took off. Just look at their daily transactions chart. It went up and to the right in early 2021. And their unique addresses too. There's a huge upward slope around that time. The most impressive part was that they managed to flip Ethereum in some of these metrics for a short amount of time. Their total value locked in DeFi protocols also rose rapidly, and they were single-handedly responsible for Ethereum's TVL dominance dropping from 97% to just 65% at the peak of their rise. And if we overlay the BNB price chart on top of these network growth charts, we see that they are super correlated, which makes a ton of sense given that you need BNB to pay for transaction fees on their network. But that was the peak of their heyday, and as things started to cool off for them, I noticed some cracks appearing in their metaphorical armor. But before we get to that, I want to give a quick shout out to our video sponsors, Metacraft. They are a new and innovative NFT platform that lets you create, collaborate, and trade NFTs on multiple different blockchains. They already have some NFTs on there that you can go browse. But I think the coolest part is their creation platform that has all sorts of AI features which can help you transform your normal pictures into unique artwork. So for all you NFT artists out there, go sign up for an account to try it out. You can also play their NFT game called Temple of the Sun God, which is already live and free to play. If you're able to escape the temple without getting caught by the guards, then you can win a free NFT. So if any of that sounds enticing to you, go check them out using my link down below. Alright, back to BSC. So what happened after the peak of their success? Well, ironically, they started facing the same issues that Ethereum had due to all their growth and adoption. For example, average transaction times slowed down from a few seconds to 10+ minutes, and users had to up their gas fees to get transactions through. But beyond that, the BSC ecosystem just got a bad rap for having low quality projects. Like deflationary meme coins were getting launched left and right instead of quality DeFi projects. But even for their DeFi projects, those faced a series of exploits like flash loan attacks. And experts argue that much of that could have been avoided if their developers would just migrate smart contracts over without messing up mission critical lines of code. And those were the legit developers too. There were also a bunch of anonymous teams that launched projects with the sole purpose of rugging investors. Some analysts estimate that there were over 700 rug pulls that happened on BSC over that few month stretch. While all these problems were going on, people got fed up and decided to take their capital to newer blockchains. If we look at the same TVL chart from before, you'll see a noticeable drop after May, and that's because capital flowed out of BSC and into new layer 1s like Solana, Terra, and Avalanche. In fact, BSC's overall share of TVL dropped from 22% at its peak to only 11% a few months later. And at the same time, the price of BNB stalled, essentially trading sideways since its all-time high in May. But that's all in the past though. Let's shift our focus to the here and now and check out the current state of BSC. Well, unfortunately, I do not have good news to report because I took a look and it doesn't look pretty. If we check out the top projects in their ecosystem, most of them are just interoperable projects that are on every chain. That tells me that there's little to no innovation going on that's native to BSC. Also, the tech side of the things is in shambles too. There was an issue raised on their GitHub recently titled BSC is a lost cause. That was pretty eye-opening. Basically, the author lists a bunch of issues with their node software and the protocol itself. And then he criticizes the developers for not caring and rushing through fixes that end up causing even more problems. He writes, quote, "The root cause of the problem is that you mindlessly increase the block size and reduce the block time without doing the actual work required." And he concludes that, quote, "Binance wanted a quick hack to make some money, but is not willing to expend even modest resources to make this thing actually work." To be honest, his conclusion was always my hunch, but I didn't have any glaring examples to share until now. It's not just the community complaining though, it seems like the market agrees as well. BSC's total value locked has continued to fall since late last year, and now they are all the way down to 6.3% of TVL across all of crypto. That's a drastic fall from their once high of 22%, and they even got beat by the Terra ecosystem. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they drop below Avalanche and Solana as well in the next few months. Well, now that we're up to speed on the story of BSC, it's time to answer our initial question. Is it over for BSC? Personally, I say yes it is. Its heyday is behind it, and I predict that its market share will only continue to fall in the future. After all, the copy-paste strategy is just not a sustainable advantage, both for the protocol itself and for its ecosystem projects. Just like BSC overtook EOS and Tron, I think it's only a matter of time until some other hot network overtakes BSC. So my conclusion is that it is fine to ride the hype wave for these centralized layer 1 blockchains, but if you're looking for a truly long-term play, like something that will survive for years and stay on top, then you gotta be more picky and analyze the fundamentals carefully. But just because I'm down on BSC doesn't mean it's all bad news for their token BNB. After all, it does have other utility that's not tied to the Binance Smart Chain. And also, they recently added an auto burn feature that should help reduce token supply and selling pressure. Finally, they announced a $1 billion growth fund to invest in the BSC ecosystem. So if they put that to good use, then maybe some of my criticisms will disappear. Anyways, we'll have to wait and see, but one thing I learned in crypto is to not underestimate CZ and his ability to give the market what it wants, whether that be an altcoin casino, 100x leverage for degenerates, or a copy-paste blockchain with low fees. I want to be fair though, because Binance Smart Chain is not the only project with a struggling ecosystem. Solana does as well, and in this video I talk all about it. And in this video I cover some super promising layer 2 projects with some actually innovative scaling solutions. I'll see you on the next one, and cheers!